In the early 1500s, the world was a place of unknowns, where vast stretches of ocean and land remained uncharted, and the boundaries of the map were filled with mystery and promise. It was an era when fortunes and empires rose and fell on the winds of exploration, and the bravest dared to chase dreams across the endless blue. At the heart of this ambition was the spice trade. Cloves, nutmeg, cinnamon, prized treasures worth more than gold in Europe, coveted for their flavor, their fragrance, and their power to preserve food. These rare spices grew only in the distant Moluccas, the fabled Spice Islands, thousands of miles from European shores. Portugal, with its daring navigators, controlled the eastern sea route around Africa, reaping immense wealth and leaving Spain desperate for its own path to these riches. Into this fierce rivalry stepped Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese mariner with a bold and audacious vision, a westward route to the Spice Islands, sailing into the unknown through the Americas and across the mysterious ocean that Balboa had only glimpsed. Rejected by his own king, Magellan took his daring plan to Spain's young King Charles V. The ambitious monarch, eager to challenge Portugal's dominance and expand his own empire, agreed to fund the expedition, setting the stage for a journey that would test the limits of human endurance. On September 20, 1519, Magellan set sail from Spain, with 5 ships and 239 men, carrying not only the hopes of a nation, but also the secret of his route locked tightly in his mind, determined to succeed where others had failed. The men sailed for spices and glory, but only Magellan truly grasped the world-altering scale of their journey, a voyage that would test their courage, their faith, and their very survival. The age of global exploration was about to change forever, as the world braced for discoveries that would reshape history and connect continents as never before. Tensions flared as Magellan's fleet crossed the vast, unpredictable Atlantic, the ships creaking under the strain of the journey and the weight of uncertainty. Spanish captains resented taking orders from a Portuguese traitor, and suspicion simmered beneath every command. The air was thick with rivalry and distrust, as old national grudges resurfaced on the open sea. As they sailed south along the wild coast of South America, the weather worsened dramatically. Relentless winds and freezing rain battered the fleet, testing the endurance of every sailor. The promise of a quick passage faded, replaced by the grim reality of an Antarctic winter. The men faced endless nights, biting cold, and dwindling supplies. In March 1520, Magellan ordered the fleet to shelter in a desolate bay, Puerto San Julian. Discontent boiled over as the men realized their ordeal was far from over. The Spanish captains mutinied, seizing ships and demanding a return to Spain. The fleet teetered on the brink of disaster, unity shattered. Magellan responded with ruthless cunning. He retook a ship by subterfuge, blockaded the mutineers, and crushed the rebellion with swift, decisive action. The ringleader was executed, another captain marooned on the barren coast, serving as a warning to all who might defy Magellan's command. Magellan's authority was restored, but now he ruled by fear. The crew, chastened and wary, obeyed in silence. The endless winter dragged on, the fleet battered but intact, clinging to hope as the ice refused to thaw. Magellan's iron will had prevailed, but the cost was high, trust was broken, and the men's spirits were worn thin. The men waited, trapped at the edge of the world, haunted by uncertainty and longing for home. Yet the true test of their resolve and courage was yet to come, as the unknown still lay ahead. After 5 brutal months, the fleet pressed south, losing the Santiago to a storm. The coastline was a maze of dead ends. Hope faded, until, in October 1520, they found a deep waterway, the strait Magellan had dreamed of. Navigating the treacherous passage, Magellan split his fleet to explore. Disaster struck again. The San Antonio, their largest ship, deserted and fled back to Spain. Unaware, Magellan pressed on with 3 ships through the labyrinth of saltwater and snow-capped mountains. Fires from the indigenous people lit the southern shore, Tierra del Fuego, the land of fire. For 38 harrowing days, they battled currents and uncertainty. At last, they emerged into a vast, calm ocean. Overcome with relief, Magellan named it the Pacific. He had found his westward passage. Now, only the great ocean stood between them and the Spice Islands. The hardest part was still ahead. On November 28, 1520, Magellan's 3 ships entered the Pacific, believing the Spice Islands were weeks away, a fatal miscalculation. The Pacific was an endless, empty expanse. For 99 days the men suffered starvation and thirst. Food ran out, water turned foul. They ate leather, sawdust, and rats. Scurvy ravaged the crew, gums blackened, bodies wasted away. At least 19 died, their bodies cast into the sea. The psychological toll was immense. The horizon never changed, hope faded with each day. Only 2 barren islands were sighted, no relief. Magellan's will alone kept the expedition from collapse. Finally, on March 6, 1521, a lookout cried, "Land!" The ordeal was over. They had survived the greatest ocean crossing in history, but paradise would prove fleeting. The starving crew landed on Guam, paradise at last. They were greeted by the island's lush greenery and abundant resources, a stark contrast to the harsh conditions they had endured at sea. But cultural misunderstandings led to violence. Magellan burned homes and named it the Island of Thieves. The initial hope of a peaceful encounter quickly turned into a nightmare for both the explorers and the islanders. Sailing west, they reached the Philippines, where Magellan's enslaved interpreter, Henrique, could speak the local language, a sign they were near the Spice Islands. This gave the crew a renewed sense of purpose and hope. Magellan forged an alliance with Raja Humabon of Cebu, converting hundreds to Christianity in a grand ceremony. This alliance seemed to solidify their presence in the region. Emboldened, Magellan demanded submission from all local chiefs. Lapu-Lapu of Mactan refused. This defiance set the stage for a dramatic confrontation. Ignoring warnings, Magellan led a small force to Mactan on April 27, 1521. His overconfidence would soon prove to be his downfall. Outnumbered and unable to use their cannons, the Spanish were overwhelmed. The battle was fierce and chaotic, with the native warriors showing no mercy. Magellan was killed on the beach, his vision undone by overconfidence. His death marked a turning point in the expedition. The expedition lost its leader and its sense of invincibility. The crew was left in a state of mourning and uncertainty. The survivors faced betrayal and chaos. Leadership struggles and dwindling supplies added to their woes. The dream of glory had become a struggle for survival. Every day was a battle against hunger, disease, and despair. The fate of the voyage now hung in the balance. The vast ocean seemed more daunting than ever. The world would never be the same. The expedition's trials and tribulations would echo through history, forever altering the course of exploration. Magellan's death shattered the expedition. Betrayed by their former ally, Raja Humabon, many officers were massacred at a banquet. The survivors, now just over 100, burned one ship and split between the Trinidad and Victoria. Under Juan Sebastian Elcano, they reached the Spice Islands, trading everything for a cargo of cloves. The Trinidad, leaking badly, stayed for repairs and tried to return east. The Victoria, with 60 men, sailed west, straight through Portuguese waters. Starvation and scurvy struck again. By the time Victoria reached the Atlantic, only a handful could work the sails. At Cape Verde, 13 were captured by the Portuguese. The rest barely escaped. On September 6, 1522, the battered Victoria limped into Spain. Only 18 Europeans survived, but their cargo of spices paid for the entire expedition. The first circumnavigation was complete. The cost was staggering, but the world was forever changed. The Victoria's return stunned Europe. 18 men had sailed around the globe, redrawing the map and proving the world's vastness. Elcano was hailed as a hero, but the question of who truly circumnavigated the globe lingers. Magellan's enslaved interpreter, Henrique of Malacca, had traveled from Southeast Asia to Europe and back, possibly completing the first true circumnavigation. After Magellan's death, Henrique vanished, his fate unknown, his story lost to history. The expedition's legacy is complex. Ambition, endurance, violence, and the forgotten contributions of non-Europeans. The Magellan Elcano voyage was a triumph of navigation and a tale of human cost. It marked the dawn of globalization, and the world would never be the same. The age of discovery had circled the globe, but its shadows remain.